Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Newsflash Podcast. We're having a very special episode today, and as you can see, I'm not in my normal habitat, setting, studio, whatever you want to call it, because I'm currently traveling. I'm in Joburg at the moment, and it's been quite an eventful trip. More on that in the near future. Keep an eye on all my social media and all that stuff. But yeah, my guest today is a very interesting guest. She has a young YouTube channel. She's been commentating on South African affairs, but also international affairs. Like she also has debates on her channel, and she does an interesting thing with diagrams, but I'm going to let her explain that. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show. She goes under That Darn Kitty, or Kitty. How are you doing?
Hi, good to see you. Thank you so much for having me on.
You are most welcome. As you can see, you have some familiar friends already in the chats. Matthew Dixon, I believe, I'm not sure if you know Isaac. Kyle B, who also just became a member. Thank you, Kyle B, for becoming a member. And Groovy and a whole lot of other people.
Groovy.
Joe Khateng looks good on you. Does it? I don't know. But yeah, so we're also broadcasting to Facebook and Twitter, possibly for the first time. So if there's anybody who is watching on X or Twitter or Facebook, please do drop a comment. I will be able to see it. And if you have any questions for our guest, I'll allow a few minutes at the end of the show for you guys to also give your questions. But I will also be keeping an eye on the comment section, and I will mark which one I see. CR saying hi. Hello, CR. And Groovy, hey mates. Well done. All right, so let's get into the questions. I was on your show. You were gracious enough to have me on your show. You did a whole thing about the documentary that I made, which I found very, I gotta commend you, because you literally frame by frame looked at that documentary. That you would stop it on a headline and read the subheading and all that stuff, which I thought was great. I really enjoyed that you did that, and that you dissected it the way you did, and you showed that, because you started it with a question. If I answered certain questions, and at the end you were like, yeah, no, he answered all these questions. So I was glad to see that the story made sense.
Yeah.
The story had a beautiful thing. But I gotta ask, the diagram thing, where does that come from? Why do you do it?
So it is a bit of a strange one. I think it's just a quirk of just my brain not really my brain wanting to make a bit more sense of things and needing a few more steps to make sense of things nicely, I suppose. I can speak a lot and I say a lot of things, but it actually really helps me to write things down. So it started with that. I used to make mind maps to study. That's basically how I did it all the time. And then actually, I felt the need to do this in the context of debates, to actually follow what everybody's reasoning along the conversation, follow it literally, make a map of it, so that I can point back in time to things that people had said previously. And so I went and wanted to apply this to video essays and things like that, where somebody is trying to convey a message. So I can dissect it to see what that person is trying to get across. So it's just a way for me it's sophisticated reaction content, essentially, is that I'm taking notes as I go along. Yeah.
It's sophisticated. That indeed it is. Yeah. And I enjoy your channel. I enjoy the content that you do, and I encourage people to go and check you out. You know, there is a link to your channel in the description, so people can go check out. But be warned, if you're expecting short form content, not on this channel. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Not at the moment.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I'm very.
Go ahead.
No, I take my time with things. That's essentially it. We will take, so say for a 40 minute, 45 minutes, documentary takes 3 or 4 sessions to get through because I'm really taking it very slow. But I am also working on getting to a point where we digest. So I've taken that time because I want to continue always taking time and doing long form, but then going and digesting it and putting it into a little bit more of an easier format, a shorter format at a later stage. That's what I'm hoping to do.
Are you saying that when you do the recording for the long one, you want to take like maybe shorts or clips out of that and
Yeah.
repurpose them, so to speak?
Yeah, at the moment, that's what I've like the past week or so. I've been doing that, just taking little clips out and everything. But also, another thing that I've seen other channels do when they do such dissections, they then go and write a Substack about it or something like that. And the Substack itself, as well, could be a summary video. The script that they write in a Substack. Trigonometry does this, so it's something that I want to do as well because it's like, yeah, you made a nice diagram, or who cares about that? You didn't really do anything further. You made this big map, and you in the process you made some conclusions, but there's not much I can take from that as a viewer. So I think right now everyone just likes hanging out with me while I do this thing, but I'm trying to add more value to it, get more out of it for people.
Okay. And besides the diagram, is there any other kind of content that you do on your YouTube channel?
Yes. So it's a variety channel, let's call it that. But I do spend most of my time doing that sort of deep dive content. But on Thursdays, well, actually, it's Thursdays for Americans, but it's Friday morning for South Africans. I do a panel show called The Thinkers, and I've got Americans, Canadians, all kinds of people that are on that panel show, and we pick a topic and we discuss it for a couple hours, and then we end it off with a game at the end. So that's what I do on that in a group sense. Then on Fridays, what I've started to do is just relax as well. At Friday afternoons is do just normal reaction content where I literally just watch cat videos or something like that, just for us to just chill, because going into politics can actually it's gotten difficult lately. So I've needed to just take a break. Yeah.
How long have you been doing political commentary?
Political commentary has been maybe the past 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
The rest of you went and looked at old stuff on my channel. It's gaming and things like that. But then because I did my first debate diagram just on a kind of political discourse, about wokeness and that sort of thing. I got a little bit of traction because of that, and then I started going into it, and yeah, I think I'm a bit addicted to it as well.
And what is your opinion on wokeness? How do you feel about it?
It's toxic. It's annoying. It obviously has it's been pervasive for quite a while now. It's not a new topic to talk about, but it's still there. People when they've said, "Oh, wokeness is over because Trump is in office." I think that was a bit of wishful thinking. I think we still have this culture war going on, and that's also tiring. I feel like I've also been pulled into a culture war, and that's if there's always a need to take sides with every conversation. So yeah, that's something I'm kind of trying to pull back from and just have a chat.
Yeah,
and you, Joe, I see it in your intro. It says no wokeness. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that should pretty much answer that question. I despise it. I think it's an ideology and a way of thinking that really deteriorates society. It doesn't make you any smarter. It makes you dumber. You also are in a mental gymnastic with yourself and your ideologies, because once someone points out the flaws of the way you think or your ideology or what have you, you are left with no choice but to double down, because if you don't, then the other wokies will come after you and you'll be a sacrificial lamb. And so I stand by just respect those, let's respect people. Be a good person. Be a kind person. There's
Be
always going to be
lekker.
prejudice. Yeah, be lekker. There's always going to be kind of prejudice with everyone. There's always going to be people who prefer certain things, certain cultures, certain ways of life. And at the end of the day, and this is the libertarian in me, I don't care what you do in your own home. I don't care even what you do outside of your home. As long as it doesn't hurt me, then we're good. And you can
Yeah,
go and
not
sing
interested.
Kumbaya, you can slaughter sheep, you can do whatever you want, just as long as it doesn't affect me. And as long as you don't come into my house and try and shove those ideologies that you believe in down my throat, then we're gonna have a problem. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's how most people. I think that's how most people want to be. I know where you live, though. It's a different story.
Oh,
Where,
the hardy dogs.
do you miss them? You can have some.
Yeah, it's yes,
Love-hate
I live
relationship.
in. It's a weird relationship. It's just so familiar. So I guess I'll miss them until I don't. Yeah, I
Yeah.
live in UAE now.
Yes.
United Arab Emirates, for those of you who don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a different culture altogether. That you either accept or you don't accept. But either way, you have to respect it. And how's that been for you? Moving to United Arab Emirates. I lived in Egypt for a while, so I can kind of relate. But I think Egypt is a little bit more liberal than they are. Is it true that women are now driving there?
Yes, this is for it's
Yeah.
been for a long time. Where
Yeah.
it's not. So I think people confuse it with Saudi. The way that
Yes.
Saudi is. Saudi's just started, like a couple years ago, with women driving. But UAE, I think, is actually quite liberal compared to the
Okay.
rest of Middle East.
Yeah.
I think it's because of the economics of the place. It has to be a bit more accommodating for all of the expats that it employs. So they've become a lot more open to, say, dog ownership, pets, or whatever. It's very accommodating here, actually.
Okay.
One of the things I did worry about is, like, I'm a loud woman. I'm walking around with tattoos. What's going to happen when I go there, and as in to Dubai? And it actually turns out, no, it's not that much of a big deal. You just need to respect in certain places. There's just more respect expected
Yeah.
than around town. So going to a government building, cover your shoulders, that sort of thing. But it's not like, it's really, they've really made it very accommodating, and that's quite an interesting thing to consider, because we've got the other side of that whole idea in the UK and everywhere with the immigrants. The joke is, people go, "Oh, you're an expat when you're in Dubai," and then everybody else calls the other side, as in the UK, "Oh, those are immigrants." It's a different idea. Or in the USA, Mexicans are immigrants. We are expats when we are here in Dubai. But that's because it's a different climate over here. The UAE protects its citizens. It has a small population of actual Emiratis that it takes care of, and it welcomes the expats because the expats are working, and that's it. But there's still rules here. You're still here by the grace of the UAE government. And it's that's understood, I would think, broadly.
Yeah.
Some people try and take advantage, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, of course. You're always going to have bad apples in society that will try and, take advantage and stuff. But how has the adjustment been? Because it's you and your husband, you moved over. We'll get into why in a moment. But I want to know, like, how has it been? Because, like, for me personally, when I moved to Egypt, I was very young when I moved to Egypt. I was like almost 9, turning 9.
Yeah.
So, going to school there was a bit of an adjustment, and not knowing the language at all was also an adjustment. But for the most part, it was okay until a certain point. But I wouldn't say that I embraced their culture a lot. I respected it, but I didn't like with South Africa, I've embraced it. You know, like you heard me earlier off air was saying yeses and
Yes, yeah.
certain Afrikaans words and stuff. So I've kind of like embraced that culture. But with Egypt, I didn't. How has it been for you? Have you embraced the culture there, or what's it like?
I think part of the reason, so I would say no, not really. Not because I've rejected it and it's not good enough for me or something like that. It's more like because of the lifestyle that I live here. I I started off working in at home, and I'm still basically I'm not employed, but I'm I'm still at home a lot of the time. So I haven't actually been in the workforce yet. So that also kind of insulates me from having to experience too much of the culture, because this whole culture here is about work at the moment. It So I haven't really been exposed to that, and I've been here for 3 years. My husband, on the other hand, of course, we came here for his job, so of course he's been way more exposed to that. So he knows a lot more about the work culture than I do. As for the language, we've got a lot of English here. Sorry, am I glitching out? I can change because I'm checking. There's a lot of
It's just the
uh,
internet connection.
yeah. Okay, no worries. So yes. Anyway, the language was, yes, of course, you should learn Arabic because that's the language of the country. But also because of the sheer number of expats, you use English a lot. It's broken English most of the time. That was the biggest adjustment is that it's very hard to communicate because everybody speaks different languages. It's not even that if you learn Arabic, you'll be fine. There's just so many different cultures here. You have to figure out how to communicate. That was maybe irritating, but it's not debilitating. Yeah. As for like people expect, I'm a Christian, so am I supposed to now be uncomfortable with Islamic religion or mosques everywhere? No, it's not uncomfortable at all. There is call to prayer and that sort of thing, but it's just part of the culture. It's I think maybe that's also another South African sort of benefit we have, where we're okay with other cultures. We don't. I don't know. I feel like having lived in South Africa was a benefit for me because it just made me understand that I can expect different things from different people. So yeah, in terms of adjusting, the biggest adjustment was just being away from my family more than anything. We've got friends here, and they've got a lot of South African friends, so that also helps because you have the same sort of sense of humor, and that works, and your same sort of work ethic even. So that helps as well. But yeah, I think I've been able to be isolated and insulated because of the nature of this city as well. I don't have to go very far. I don't have to drive around all over the place. I get things to my door. I work online like this, and yeah. But it feels like I'm in the future. I'm living in the future, and I love it here.
Well, it's great to hear that. You know,
Mm.
I think one of the biggest adjustments, like even for me, like leaving the States and then Egypt and then here, like Egypt was for me quite a culture shock. And
Mm.
then moving here, I felt like South Africa was like a nice middle ground between the two. It's difficult to explain, but there's a lot of corruption also in Egypt. And you can
Yeah.
get away with a lot in Egypt. If you have money,
Hmm.
and if and the divide is also greater. You either have money or you don't. And so when I
Yeah.
moved here, the one big thing that was interesting to me was how westernized South Africa was, um, and that felt a bit more like home for me, like the States. Um, but the corruption is also bad. So it's like, okay, so you can also get away with shit here. That's cool.
Oh, okay.
So there's
That
where that
actually,
mix
yeah.
comes in. Yeah. Oh, I see
Mm,
someone,
no, that
a regular from your channel has popped in.
Yeah, creamage, creamy, hi, creamy. My music DJ from there. um, yeah, as the that's actually hilarious because one of the things as well, and if you just make me think of it, coming here, definitely there is a difference between, you can't get away with stuff here. And it's not like I'm trying, so that's fine. I just knew that there's a different standard of law here. Okay, so you are gonna, if you have a traffic violation, they will find you, they will fine you, and they will take the fine. There's no argument, there's nothing. So there's none of this, oh come on, here's a Coke kind of thing that South Africa has. So I was worried that I'm going to somehow inadvertently just break the law because I'm not used to such a high level of keeping the law. So I was worried that I'm going to just offend. So initially, in terms of the culture shock, it wasn't, oh no, it's because I'm in the Middle East or whatever. It's because I'm actually in a first world country. That's the difference, is that this relaxed thing of, it'll be fine. That I didn't get that when I came here. It's not that I was scared, but yeah, I just didn't want to upset anybody. So you walk on eggshells for a bit, and you try and figure out how everybody's.
Is that why you stay inside, so that you don't get in trouble?
Yes, I stay inside. I'm too scared. No, I do often. I still have a bit of that thing with, I feel like I'm offensive just with being a Western woman. So I do feel a bit shy when I'm standing in a lift with my tattoos out and things, and then there's a Muslim lady, and I'm like, oh, I'm probably offending this woman because I'm in the Middle East.
Do they give you dirty looks? Do they look at you funny?
No. I haven't had any bad interactions at all. It's just it's on me. It's my psychology. It's my anxiety. So like I haven't gotten anything like that. I just worry. Yeah. I'm actually thinking as you're giving me examples of your own life, I'm actually going, oh, okay, let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
This is how I am.
No, it's all right. But what I do want to chat to you a bit about is because I've seen, watching you on your channel, sometimes you'll get a comment from someone who will say something along the lines of, oh, but you don't live in South Africa, so why do you care? Or you don't really have a right to say anything, and blah, blah, blah. Which is funny because on my side, like a lot of the times when I commentate about South Africa, people assume that I'm not living there because of the accent. So they'll say like, oh, you should mind your own business about America and blah, blah. And then I comment and I say, well, actually, I'm South African and I live in Cape Town. So, haha. That works. But for you, I kind of relate to what you're saying because there's this narrative that oh, if you don't live in South Africa, then you can't really say anything, even though you're South African. So do you feel that that's maybe like a rejection on some level, like your own? I don't want to say people, but it feels like maybe like, why are you doing this to me? Like I love South Africa. I still love South Africa. It's still my home. Just because you don't live there doesn't make it less of your home. So obviously you have every right. It's just like when people when the first election was happening with Trump in 2016, and later than that, 2020, I had an opinion about Trump, and people were like, "Oh, Joe, how could you talk about Trump?" No. But it's like, I'm American. I'm allowed to have this opinion. I'm allowed to look at my country and have an opinion, whether it's for or against him, doesn't matter. Yeah. So it's the same. I feel like it's the same kind of thing with you. Like people are saying, "Oh, you're not allowed to," but you're South African. You have every right to. So how do you feel about that when people try and say that you don't have a voice? How does that make you feel?
I feel a little bit guilty because one of the criticisms that the I'm staying movement, that whole thing that we had, I think it was a couple of years ago, that we hashtag I'm staying. Well, I didn't stay. We didn't stay. So there is that kind of sense of judgment that kind of hangs over me that I feel many South Africans have. And when I watch South African channels and things like that, when we're talking about South Africa, some people, when they find out that I'm not living in South Africa anymore, it's like, well, you abandoned South Africa, so you aren't part of the solution. You gave up on South Africa. and I feel that. I can't deny that. I'm like, yes, there was this decision. We early on, my husband and I were like, well, if any opportunity comes up to leave South Africa, no matter where it is, we're going to consider it. And with his job, it just so happened that his job has more opportunities globally than what I had. I was in media, digital marketing. So he's a lot more qualified. He had more opportunity, and whatever the point is, whoever got an opportunity, we were going to see how we could make it work to get out of South Africa. I didn't think I think maybe part of the reason I hold this worry in the back of my mind is I remember having a friend who was going to UK. She was one of my best friends that was moving to the UK, and this was in like it was like 2014 that she was leaving, and I was also like, oh, she's leaving, she's abandoning. So I had that feeling, and then I went and hypocritically, I suppose, left. So yeah, I have that thing of I should be improving the country, but how am I improving it? by staying there. Another reason people don't have they have a lot more grace to give people that have children and they leave the country, and I don't have children and I don't plan on having children. So yeah, I have this kind of I think it is just a personal chip on my shoulder of I know I left. I'm sorry, I left, but life is better. I have fewer problems. I'm safer here, and everything. And it seems like I'm judged for that every now and then. But I appreciate the way you see it. That helps as well to hear that you're like, well, yeah, it's still my home. I don't know if I'll go back though. I don't
That's
know.
interesting.
It depends on. Sorry about the cats in the background, but you're
No
used to
worries.
this. You know this. Sorry
That
about
darn-
to your audience for the cats.
That darn kitty. That's just it's in your name. So
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if there weren't any cats involved. Yeah, I'm getting some interesting comments in the live chat, which I'll get to in a moment. But I just want to say, like that guilt. I think there's, at the end of the day, there is two groups. There's the groups that say stay and fight or find a solution. Just like with the Afrikaner refugee, right? I mean, even in the Afrikaans community, there are Afrikaners that say, no, we're going to stay and fight. We're going to find solutions. Not fight violently, but fight for the country. Fight for a better South Africa. And they believe that if they leave, then that's not going to happen. And then there's the ones who, for whatever reason, whether it be they feel prosecuted or maybe they were victims of a farm attack or farm murder, whatever the case may be, or they applied to have jobs and they were turned down because of the color of their skin, which does happen in South Africa.
Yeah.
They decided to go to America for a better opportunity. And I know a lot of Afrikaners and South Africans that have moved to America and are having the time of their lives. Do they miss South Africa? Of course. It's in the same way that I miss America. I miss America because it's America. It's my home. There's a longing to go there. But South Africa is also my home. South Africa has become my home. I've embraced it, like I said earlier. I have a wife here. I have 2 kids here. I can't imagine a life without them. And even if we were to go to the States, they would come with me. And I don't think I would move to the States unless things got really, really, really bad. But your family, you got an opportunity. And here's the funny thing as well. Sometimes people say things in their situation. So for example, someone might tell you like, oh, but you left, and you abandoned us. But then months down the line, they get like an awesome opportunity that they can't say no to because of money and other opportunities. And then all of a sudden the same person who called you, you abandoned the country, is now going to Australia or New Zealand or wherever else with that opportunity. Things change, people change is my point that I'm trying to make. And I think that when people try and not ridicule, but not even bully, but just say these things like, oh, you're not a patriot because you left. That's really childish to say. And I'll give you another a good example of this kind of rhetoric. And I'm not saying that this person means any ill will or anything like that, but I mean, this is a very good, okay, but what does she do? What are you known for? I know a lot of
Yeah.
people who live in Dubai, South African people that live in Dubai. And I'm not saying this is like a malicious question, but does it matter? And
I'm a person.
does it matter? And also, like, you're not in government. You're not, you don't have, you're not chatting to Cyril on WhatsApp. Like, hey, Cyril, what the hell are you doing? But
Yeah.
what I would answer positively to that question is that you have a YouTube channel that not only looks at South African politics and South African affairs, but you also look at other American stuff that's happening, debates about wokeism, debates about, I mean, you had the Candace Owen debate and all that stuff, and you dissect the ideology and the arguments and all that stuff. And I think the more voices we have that attack the left craziness, then more power to you. And that falls, or South Africa falls under that, where, you're talking about South African politics. That's why you talked about my documentary. And I was so grateful that you did that, because there are people, you said it yourself, there's Americans that watch your show, there's people from Dubai that watch your show, other South Africans that may not know about my channel, or even that the Pi Act is a thing in South Africa. And in that way you are helping, and in that way you are fighting the good fight. You may not be in South Africa to do it, but I don't think you have to be in South Africa to do it.
Yeah, I don't have to be. You're right, and I could be judged a bit, or maybe given some crap for not spending enough time on South Africa in the past few years. But I'm changing that, and I actually really appreciate the Americans, because actually if you look at my little channel's demographics, it's very much it's a lot of Americans, because Americans and Canadians, just because of the boost I got from the initial boost I got from an American channel, and further American channels giving me boosts essentially by shouting me out. But the Americans that have stuck with me, they're also interested in the way things are in other parts of the world. And I actually feel like South Africans have a skewed idea of what Americans are like. And the Americans that I've gotten to interact with, they've been very interested in South Africa, and I appreciate that, because it's also nice for them to see how it could be how nicely they have it, compared to other countries. It's not that I'm like, hey, look, we win the oppression Olympics, we're worse off than you. It's just a cool way to also just look at the different way governments interact with each other. And I think the opportunity that we got with Ramaphosa going to the Oval Office, I think putting those two subjects together really, really helped out. And then they really were interested in your documentary. And what also is cool about it is that you're an American as well. So it was a great combination that I've got. And I really hope South Africans will learn to appreciate good Americans as well. But do you get that sense from South Africans that they think of Americans as stupid?
Oh yeah, I actually have a joke about that in my stand-up. That I start off the joke by saying, I asked the audience, like, and so I asked the audience, do you guys think Americans are stupid? And usually it's a resounding yes, with no hesitation. Like everyone just like, yeah, and I'm just like, oh, okay, you didn't even hold back on that. And then I go into a whole, and I go into a whole bit about Americans being stupid. And so there's definitely that idea. But they're not. Most of them are not. But I blame the media for that as well, and talk shows and stuff like that, because they always show the dumb Americans, oh, where's Australia on this map? And then they'll point to like Europe or something. And then everybody just assumes, oh, well, that must be all Americans. But there is some truth as well to Americans that, Americans also don't care too much about other countries. They most of them do care about their own country. But I mean, that's true for almost any society. I just want to get to some super chats that came in, mainly from Giant XJ. Here he said, please forgive my ignorance, but who is this woman? Thanks for the 70 Rand Sasa chat. And he asked, and he gave another one. He says, thanks for addressing the question, Joe. Voices matter. I just didn't know her and or the connections to your channel content. What makes more impact than voices are kabooms. Joking. Thank you, Giant XJ, for the 70 Rand Sasa chat. So yeah, no, I that's why I said your question wasn't malicious, because I did see the previous question.
It's a valid question. Who is this person?
Well, I would say that you are a young YouTuber that is just commentating on world affairs, and you have a specific interest in South Africa because you are South African and you love cats. That's a big thing.
Yes, there is that too. And I'm very interested in what you're doing, Joe. That's the thing. And you were really, thank you again so much for coming and speaking to me about what you're doing. I really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Thanks for what you did with the documentary. I hope people will watch it. It's a different. If you're that kind of person that likes, here's the thing. I don't have to do like a DVD commentary for the documentary. You've done that for me through a diagram. So if you want some commentary with the documentary, go check it out.
I was trying to figure out what you were thinking along the way. That's another thing.
Were you trying to discover if I was like a lefty kind of like, was I saying the right message?
No, I knew you weren't a leftoid. I knew that from the beginning because I started following you. I was already subscribed to you.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah. So it's not like I just found you only now.
Okay.
But and I knew that you weren't this wokey. And even so, the point is your documentary was interesting and people were talking about it online, and I was like, no, we have to see whether this is as hyped as are people overhyping it, and they weren't. It really stood up to all of the praise, and it was mind blowing. That's the thing as well. It was just the way that you did it, and I'm excited for number 2. So
yes, number 2 hopefully on the way soon. We'll see how it goes. And I think I wanted to ask you: do you watch other South African YouTubers like Ronaldo, House, and Big Daddy Liberty? And I don't know if you know any others.
Yeah, I love Big Daddy Liberty. I follow him a lot on Twitter. I actually see him more than I actually watch the YouTube. I spend a lot of time in Gareth Cliff's in his show, and actually the one time that you were on, I wasn't able to be there to give you crap in the chat. But yeah, I watch him. Ronaldo, I'm in and out of his streams. Who else? Yes, Morning Shot. I watch them as well. And the podcast, Pod Bros, all of most of the people I do watch, I must admit, on YouTube are American or they're from the UK, but I do still have South African channels in my rotation.
Cool. We'll see if we can get you on some of those shows. I think it'll be interesting conversations. Maybe like a panel discussion or something. I just want to get to some of the comments coming through here. Let's see here. Okay, so No Fear Angel has been asking a few times the same question. So let's see if we can tackle it. You're not part of the solution, question mark. What solution? Please tell me what the solution is. And then they also followed up with another one. I want to know what the solution is to save South Africa. And that's a very complicated answer. One which I was actually kind of touching on in my earlier interview on State of the Nation, which will be out soon. The solution isn't cut and dry, and the solution isn't fun, and it's not easy. But the solution is simple. Get rid of the ANC. In whatever way that takes form, that's the solution. Again, I didn't say it was going to be easy, but that is the solution. Kitty, what do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely the main thing. I'm not of the opinion that, okay, if say the DA or any other party took over, we'd be okay. But we've tried the ANC, guys. We've tried them. Okay, we've had this forever. It seems right now at this point, my whole life. I'm 34, so yeah, we've got the ANC. We've given them a good go, and their hold on the country is slowly eroding, and that at least is the first step, I would say. I don't know. We could be ushering in worse, but we don't. We all I can say is that what we have now, it's not cutting it. Daisy, you're really not helping me. Be serious, yeah. I tell if
I see
jam.
some people in the comment section asking about the gaming section of the conversation. We'll get to there, guys.
Yeah.
Allow me to do my job. There's some other interesting things that I wanted to get to know Kitteh about.
I do also watch Chris Wyatt. I do as well. The Colonel.
There we go. Yeah, someone asked about that. The Colonel. Do you watch Chris Wyatt? And she does. There you go. Where is it? Anna Marie Nell. Hello, Anna Marie. It's good to see you again. So we will get to the gaming. Another super chat, 70 rand super chat from Giant XJ. I see gaming in the title. What games are we talking here? That's kind of why I clicked. Saw Joe Emilio live with gaming.
Oh, yeah.
So here I am. I do have a gaming channel actually, but I'm not very. But I'm not very active. So I started that channel because I wanted to start getting into that category. And this was before my channel, the current channel that I have, took off. I felt like it was kind of stagnating, and I was like, man, like, okay, let me just try. Maybe this isn't working, so let me try something else. And then at the beginning of this year, it kind of like just took off. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to embrace the Newsflash thing. And then it just meant that I couldn't game as much. And also, my son was born, and that meant that I had to stop gaming. I haven't played my Xbox in months. So yeah, it's kind of dormant now. There is stuff on there. It's basically me playing scary games, which I love, and me freaking out. I'm a huge scaredy cat. But yeah, okay, let's talk a bit about gaming. So you have gaming? You do have gaming content on your channel. It's just old.
Yeah, it's very old. Again, it's the same thing. What lands up working on your channel, you go with that, right?
Yeah.
But then again, a lot of people, like I said, they're not. A lot of people don't mind just hanging out with me. So that's why I've tried to get it all variety going. I don't know how that's going to go. Maybe I do have a gaming channel that's separate, but it's much smaller. It's not monetized, all of that. So that is a problem. So I'm trying to put it like just a certain day of the week that we can do gaming stuff. My channel is actually 7 years old, and I was streaming a lot on Twitch, and that was all I was doing is gaming over there. And my main game was what's a Monster Hunter World. We played forever basically, and now Monster Hunter Wilds is out, so I'm trying to get on top of that. Yes, Joe needs to join us for Gartic Phone. Have you heard of Gartic Phone?
No.
Okay, it's like a broken telephone, but you draw. So it's a cute little game. It's not a video game really. It's just drawing.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So I don't play horror games though. I think I'd be a good horror game streamer because I'm also a scaredy cat.
Oh, you should do it, man. I love, like, that's the thing, like with gaming with me, like watching YouTube gamers. I watch Dashi, Expert Thief, some other guys as well. This one guy, I can't remember his name, but I saw him when he had like 200 subscribers, and all he does is he plays horror games. And in 6 months, he had almost he went to 500,000 subscribers. It was such a short amount of time, but it's because he's funny. Like he's genuinely funny, talks a lot of crap, But and the way he scares is great. So it's very entertaining. And then I was like, I want to try doing that, you know. And I wanted to. I was like, I'm watching these guys play, and I'm like, oh my word, it does seem a bit scary. But what's it like to actually play the game? And boy, when you're playing the game and you put on headphones and you're in there, oh man, it's something else, because like then you're really getting the sense of how these games, it's all in the sound and music. I'm telling you, the way that
Yeah.
they've modeled it. So if you hear something running, it feels like it ran like right behind you.
Yeah.
And that's so I had a bit of fun doing that. I would love to do it again, but probably only when my kids are a little bit older and I have a little bit more time to do it, because it's also
Yeah.
not easy. You've got to, stream. Well, you don't stream it. Well, you can stream it, but I was recording it, and then I've got to cut it down and get it to a nice digestible time
Yeah.
length. But yeah, I would love to see you do a scary game.
Yeah, I think it would be a lot of fun. There's a lot of recommendations going on in the
Yeah.
in the chat. I think also you have to be a kind of person that can be susceptible to those sort of things, those effects going on. You allow yourself to be immersed in the game, therefore you will be scared by it more than say somebody else that's not taking it really
Yeah.
to heart or anything. But you get, I think certain people get immersed and are able to be
Yes.
properly scared.
Has
Yeah.
anyone
So
watched the horror game? I think it's Chucksy. Have you heard of it? Chucksy.
no.
If your computer can, you must get it off of Stream. Is it Stream? Is it called Stream?
Steam.
Steam. Sorry.
Steam. I
Um,
always write Steam, but yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's called Chucksy. And if your computer can handle it and you get it off Steam, um, uh, Kitty, play it. And please, I'll watch it on Twitch if like. I would really love for you to play. You'll probably give up in the first 10 seconds, but but it's you know what?
Why?
I
Is
will.
it too scary or too difficult? Because I'm not, oh, by the way, I'm not a good gamer. Just because I play games doesn't mean I'm a good gamer. I've never been good at games.
Well, that's
It's just,
actually why I watch Dashi, because he's not a good gamer. He
yeah.
almost never finishes the game, but but it's just fun to go with him on the journey. And with Chucksy, it's quite a horror game. I don't necessarily understand the point, but the graphics are done really well. The jump scares are awesome. It's a puzzle-ish kind of game. Not, I think it's Asian, and it's got a bit of a weird storyline, but it's very, very fun. I'll send you what I did on it, and I was supposed to do like a part 2, but I
Okay.
just never got around to it. But let's maybe speak more about the more common games like Call of Duty. And do you play Call of Duty?
Okay, again, because I'm not a good gamer, it doesn't really it doesn't really translate. I've played Call of Duty with friends,
Yeah.
but not very well. And you know what? Kudos to them. They've had a lot of patience with me in the past, but I've never really gotten really obsessed with that game. I've played PUBG with friends and my husband, which is just so cool. I was so excited to game with my husband. You don't understand. So that's been fun, but we're kind of out of that as well because he's busy. Yeah, so FPS. Oh, I did play. Of course, I played Fortnite for a
Of
while
course.
as well. There's some clips of that. Have you played Red Dead Redemption 2?
No, I actually haven't. My uncle plays that game, and it looks cool. But
Cool uncle.
I feel GTA is more me. I love GTA 5, and I cannot wait for GTA 6. Even my wife is a fan of GTA 6, so she's like, the moment that is even announced, we are pre-ordering.
Oh my
So,
goodness, you'll do that? Good thing we each
and
get a laugh or whatever it is. I haven't played my husband played GTA. I didn't play.
oh, you must, It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of
Did you
fun.
play like role play versions as well? Like because that there's whole channels that do whole storylines in GTA.
No, we didn't do that. I
Crazy stuff.
watch what's his name? Gary Still Plays. I think he's called. I think it's Gary Still Plays.
What is that, Gary?
He's got millions of subscribers. So what he does is he plays it on the PC. And he has someone who's like a developer, I assume. I wouldn't say hacker, more like a developer, who makes obstacles within the game that he can upload into the game through the computer. And then they do random challenges. So like he'll take, for example, a number of cars. And the challenge is which car can best go through this obstacle. And it's just a lot of fun because he's funny. The way he commentates is funny. I don't know. It's super fun. Because some of the obstacles are really outlandish, really crazy obstacles, and you really get invested. Like, yeah, I wonder which car would make it through all this crap.
I've seen clips of that. I think I have seen clips of that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very popular. So that's that kind of GTA stuff I like, but I also enjoy playing it just as like I don't know, man. It's gonna sound horrible, and I probably shouldn't say it on YouTube. So because I know YouTube's gonna flag me if I say this, but
Okay.
to be able to, I don't want to sound crazy either.
Don't say it then. Don't say it. We're on your channel. If we were on mine, it'll be fun. But no.
No, but I think to be able to immerse yourself in a game like that, where you can do almost anything, is a very relaxing, therapeutic thing to do. You know.
Yeah. What do you think of that kind of thing, in terms of violent video games? So it's an old discussion really, but that people still have, you still have the boomers, I suppose, that are like, oh, violent video games equals violent people. But that is something, a video game that you're able to do anything like that I feel like that's okay. It's because it is a video game, because we understand it's not real. It is fine. I think somebody who's going to take that into real life, they're going to find a way to do that anyway. A video game is not going to change them. They already have a screw loose. So
it's
I
the
don't
same
know.
argument. It's the same argument for guns, right? If you own a gun, then that means you're violent, or you're going to go shoot it somewhere. That's not true. You buy a gun to protect yourself.
Speaking
and
of
you're
which,
not.
I saw your tweet.
Yeah. And just because you own one doesn't mean you're going to go on some rampage. Yeah. Again, bad apples in society. Of course, it's going to happen. But the majority of people who own guns are law-abiding citizens. In the same way that most people that buy video games like GTA are law-abiding citizens and just want a release or a chance to vent or live out a fantasy in the game. But that doesn't mean that they're going to pick up a rifle and rob a bank the next day. But I do think there is something to age appropriate. I wouldn't let my kids play GTA before the age of 18. Maybe 16, but 18 definitely. See how they are emotionally and how emotional mature they are. I got a Nintendo 64 when I was 7 years old, and I was playing like Super Mario, the most violent game. Obviously, this is like in the 90s, so the games weren't at all what they are today. But the most violent game was GoldenEye, which is a first shooter person. It was one of the yeah. And I'm James Bond, and I'm going around doing missions and shooting people. I didn't once think as a kid like, oh, I'm gonna buy a gun and go kill people. Like that's not how that works. And I think there are some people who are not emotionally mature enough to make that distinction, and parents should be careful of that. Because I think what people tend to do is they take one or two bad apples that may have said like, oh, I saw it in GTA, so I wanted to do it in real life. But that person has a problem, maybe a mental issue or something that needs to be investigated. That doesn't mean that because one child did it, or a teen did it, or even a young adult did it, that now we must change all gaming regulations and all that stuff. And it's the same with Dexter. I don't know if you watch the series Dexter.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm a huge fan.
Loved it. Mm-hmm.
There were two cases in real life where two people tried to beat Dexter. And now, do
Yeah.
we now shut down production of Dexter and put Michael C. Hall in prison? No. And these are mentally unstable people well, the law must take action. But I think what worries me more than GTA and Xbox and all that stuff, which by the way, I want to ask you something about that, but
Mm-hmm.
is virtual gaming. I worry
Okay.
that we get to a point where we won't be able to differentiate between real and not real, if that makes sense. Virtual reality to me is it's nice, it has its place, and it's definitely beneficial. But at the same time, I don't know if you watched that movie Gamer.
No, not that one. No.
Do yourself a favor and watch that because it's all about
Mm-hmm.
it's in a what seems to be an apocalyptic world. They don't really
Mm-hmm.
go into what the world is like, but there's this the world seems to be very heavily into virtual reality and gaming, and people have homes where they step into a room and then it just morphs
I.
into this virtual reality. And in the virtual reality world, much like Meta, they are dressed up in other things. Like some guys are girls in this world, and they're allowed to do very mischievous things. And yeah, it's quite an interesting. But the story revolves around a kid who is playing like a Call of Duty kind of game. It's
Yeah.
actually Hunger Games meets is a bit of Hunger Game influence here, but basically um, he plays a game where prisoners are
Mm.
forced. So basically, what happens is the moment he steps into this machine, quote unquote, he takes over the body of a prisoner, and the prisoner is real, and the prisoner is walking around
Oh.
shooting and all that. And so people, who he's shooting is real, right? Um, and it's like this whole tournament, and you know the gamer can win big amounts of money. But yeah, so but there's a virtual side to it as well, and that's what I fear is coming. This kind of apocalyptic world where people don't go outside anymore, where we're inside and we're pretending to be other people. And yeah, it's a very interesting movie. Michael C. Hall is also in it. He's also the bad guy.
Yes, I saw
Um,
that now. Yeah.
yeah, but a very good movie. I think the main character is what's his name from Law Abiding Citizen. Um,
It's Gerard Butler.
Jared Butler. Yeah, that's the one.
Who's
And
playing you?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very good movie. Very good movie.
Mm.
And I think to some extent maybe that kind of scenario is not in our near future, but maybe 50 years from now or 100 years
I
from now
think
we might be in that situation.
it's closer than we think. I
You think
think,
so?
and I think we're okay in. So if it were to happen today, I think you and I would be okay. Our sort of generation would be okay. Anyone who's actually an adult now, I think, would be okay, um, because we are we've we can adopt the technology, and yeah, I'm sure there's people that would be addicted to it, because of just normal the addictive quality of such things. But children is what I would worry about because they're developing. They don't have the real life experience going on. They would be more susceptible to it, because their life would be completely altered by that. That's the danger. Is the people that grow up with it. Whereas, like, we had time where there was no technology, and then we've just seen it skyrocket, and we're okay. We can kind of discern. Well, I think that's at least what I think most people are able to do now. But we've seen now AI start taking over. People are not spending time thinking much. They're relying a lot on AI to do normal things. Anything to do with language, they're just using AI to do it. And I'm freaked out by that, but I know that there's nothing we can do about it. And in terms of virtual reality as well, I don't think there's no escaping it. So I don't know. We will become transhumanist. We will become more than human. I worry for the kids when that happens. That's what I do,
Yeah.
because I mean, we will evolve and see how it goes, but that's always worrying. I think any generation, though, when any technological advancement is on the horizon, they're going to say that's going to destroy humanity. That's the thing that's bad. This is not a good idea at all. Um, but that's never going to stop.
No, but that's the thing. Humans always strive to be advanced, and we always strive to reach for the stars and reach beyond that. It's human nature. So I know that there's no stopping it, but I think that at some point, some of us do have to be careful of how far we take it. Even though it's our curiosity has always led to amazing inventions, some of those inventions were quite harmful as well. The atomic bomb being an example. And yeah, there's no stopping the human curiosity aspect of it, and the human desire for progress, and progress in the sense of like evolving and using technology to better humankind. But that's also my worry, is like, it's always like that, right? Like, oh, we're going to make this robot and it's going to be able to do this for you and that for you, and it's going to help you with this, going to help you with that. But again, I'm reminded by iRobot. Don't know if you've seen that movie, but
Beautiful, lovely movie. I enjoyed
yeah,
that.
yeah, great movie. But that's always in the back of my mind. That one and Terminator. Skynet. When is
Always,
Skynet?
come on, everybody bring that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when is Skynet going to be self-reliant or self what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Self-aware, and then
aware.
decide, you know what?
Yeah.
Like pull an Ultron or something and be like, you know what, humans are the problem, let's get rid of them. So there's always that aspect. I just want to get to some of the super chats that have been coming in again.
Yeah, sure.
Giant XJ saying, Joe, try Call of Duty I'm assuming Modern Warfare.
Modern Warfare.
I've tried it. I have tried. I don't like the mobile gaming, I'll be honest. But yeah, thank you for the 7-year Sacheti also gave another one saying, Eve 1 PC Eve Echoes is a very cool outer space game, has a massive multi-million-dollar in-game economy, and decades for
yes.
faction lore. It's insane. That sounds very interesting.
Do you
Matthew
play it,
Dixon
John?
was no.
Does he play it? I've heard of it. Sorry, go continue. Sorry.
Matthew Dixon giving a 14 Rand salsa chat saying, since I gave Kitteh a super chat, here's yours. Oh, thank you, Matthew.
So begrudging. Look at that face.
I know. And Giant XJ seems to be running out of money because he's giving 14 Rand salsa chat now. I'm kidding. One Matthew Dixon. I don't know what that means.
So I don't know. He's repeating it.
Oh, 1 for 1, 14. Okay, I get it. But yeah, so it's still on the topic of gaming. How do you feel about mobile gaming?
Ugh. Okay, wait. Does Pokemon Go count? Wait, does Pokemon Go count as mobile gaming?
You literally went, ugh.
No, just ugh, because you know what? Okay, yeah, I'm not into it. Listen, it was Creamy. She said Candy Crush kinda slaps. That's not mobile gaming, guys. None of that. I've just never got into it as well, because maybe it was because I was just too worried about my phone battery. So I was not going to do that. People play PUBG on their phones and stuff, and I don't know, maybe it's also my controlling. I prefer a controller, so maybe that's it, but I'm not into mobile gaming. And I think it's a good thing that I'm not, because I would be addicted to it. But I do ask about Pokemon Go because it is a beautiful thing to play Pokemon Go in Dubai. It's a really great thing. It was something that kept me busy for a while when I first came here. I haven't played in a very long time, but yeah, I guess that counts as mobile game because you have to. But it's nice. It gives you something to do when you're walking around. Yeah. As for shooter games on your phone, no.
No, it's horrible.
Your phone is for no. I don't. I laughed when they tried to do. Look, I'm not a Diablo fan, but the big controversy around that a couple of years ago was they were like, "Well, don't you guys have phones?" It's like, no, we don't want to play games on our phones. That's phone games are literally Candy Crush. That's fine. I'm not in the camp of I want to be playing a triple A game on my phone. Are you interested in that Steam Deck or a what's it, the Nintendo Switch, like being able to play around? Did you ever have a PSP? I never did.
Yeah, I had Game Boys. That's how old I am. I had Game Boys, and I did have a PSP at one stage. Funny enough, you mentioned the Nintendo Switch, because I was in Santon City, and there's a Nintendo shop, and I was like, oh, there's a Nintendo shop here. Okay, I gotta go look at it. Everything Nintendo, I loved it. And I was contemplating. Maybe I should get a Nintendo Switch, man. They look cool. The graphics look awesome. Like, I mean, obviously it's not going to be at the level of a console, but or a PC. But I mean, it's still, for such a small device. It's pretty good, and I could see myself. And also, it's a Nintendo Switch. You can put it on the TV. You can put it like, and I was like,
Yes.
and I love Mario.
very
I grew up with that. I don't care if that makes
like
me
you
sound
said.
childish. So, and then there were other games like this is actually what really got me thinking, because I was looking at the shelf of games, and that's Cyberpunk, which is a very recent game. They had Call of Duty. They had all these other very recent modern games, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll probably buy it and say it's for my kids, and I will play it. But I just want to go once again. Giant XJ giving 140 rand, Sasa chat, saying running out of what? Read my reply to my Eve Echoes online super chat to finish that off. Where is your reply? Sorry, I didn't see that. I'll look for it just now. Oh, it gives another one here. Giant XJ giving another 70 rand super chat, saying FPS games on mobile is a huge learning curve, but worth it. Playing on tablets, though, helps, like Red Magic or iPad, etc. And using something like a Gamer G8 Plus is a big win. Yeah, what I found with mobile gaming, and I don't know if this counts. So there is a app you can download that's like what do they call it? Oh man,
Driver sort of thing? No, what is it called?
yes, something
I
like
think I
that,
know what you're talking.
where you can play old games, retro games that they call it.
Oh, an emulator.
Emulator, that's the one. So it turns your phone into an emulator, and you can play all the classic old like Nintendo, Super Nintendo games, Nintendo 64 games, PlayStation
Sure, yeah.
games, and that's again what I grew up with. So you can, and what's nice is your iPhone, the recent ones, can Bluetooth with your Xbox controller, probably PlayStation as well, and so you just Bluetooth and you play with your controller the game on your phone. I'm really enjoying that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, what I wanted to ask you, been meaning to ask you now, is I think we might get into a debate about this. So prepare yourself.
Let's go. I'll diagram it. I'm kidding. I won't. I'll diagram it afterwards.
Yeah, please do. What is your preferred mode of gaming? PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile? Mobile, I think we already know. Let's keep that up. We already discussed that.
Yeah.
So just
Okay.
PC, Xbox, PlayStation. Which one do you think is best?
PlayStation. I'm a PlayStation girly. I've got a computer that can handle stuff. I finally do. Because my husband got a gaming PC, and he played a couple games and was like, "No, I'm not into this," and gave it to me. So I have a gaming PC, and I'm really excited about that. And I do want to play games, but I also still have my PlayStation 5, which also I have a special spot in my heart for my PlayStation 5 because I got it through donations from people on my Twitch channel. So
Okay.
either way, and also I started off gaming on PlayStation. Did I? Yeah, I did. PlayStation 1. So
Okay.
so yeah, I've just been a PlayStation. I've got an Xbox as well,
Okay.
because as well, again, my husband. I've got the best husband. Gets fancies, and then he's just like, "Meh, I'm not interested," and then I'll take it. So we've got an Xbox and a PlayStation and a PC, so I can play on all the things. I'm just not interested in getting a Steam Deck or anything like that. It's not worth it when I've got all of these things. So, but then again, I just never got into. Speaking of consoles, I've never really gotten into loving my Xbox. I've just always
Mm.
loved PlayStation. I think it's a. Do you think it's a habit? I don't know. What are you on with it? Are you against me here with this?
Um, okay, so maybe 10 years ago, I would have had a big debate and said PlayStation all
Yeah.
the way.
Hmm. Hmm.
As of recent, though, I feel that both consoles are actually almost neck and neck in terms of technology.
Hmm.
And they're constantly battling each other anyway. Like, they're trying to win that gaming race. But there's no doubt that a PC, when you really, have that custom ability to put in that really strong graphics chip and really strong
Hmm.
processor, and you get to upgrade it as technology keeps going, and you got these coolants and these, I've seen some really outlandish gaming PCs, and that's all cool and whatever. There's a space for that. But at the end of the day, I think a PC is definitely going to be the stronger. It can be the stronger out of the consoles. I've
Hmm.
never gotten used to playing with a mouse and my keyboard. Like I'm very slow. I'm very, very, very
I've
slow.
lost it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You need the
I'm always like,
controller pad
ah,
from Pat.
it's. Damn it! I thought I was pressing W, but I'm pressing E. So that's
Yeah.
my problem. I'm much better at a handhold controller. Having said that, I do
Mm.
have an Xbox One. Um,
Yeah.
so I play a lot of Xbox games and stuff like that. But like I said, I haven't played in months.
Got a Game Pass?
Um, yes, yes, definitely.
Hmm. Very,
The
very
one
worth it. Yeah.
the one thing that is so unfair though, which is why I envy you for the PlayStation, is
Hmm.
that PlayStation Sony has Spider-Man, and I am
Oh,
dying
yes,
to
the
play that game.
exclusives. It's never been a thing
Yes.
for me because, I'm just like the games that I got into. The only reason I even went back to PlayStation was I didn't even need to, but I wanted to play Skyrim. It was way after 2011, and I wanted to play Skyrim on PlayStation 4. Like that's so I'm not that guy. I'm not the one that's trying to go for the exclusives or anything like that. So that was never a thing for me, but I know that is the reason most, like, a lot of proper gamers have a PlayStation, is just for those exclusives. And those are, I don't know if they're going to continue that way.
Oh, I
Um
hope not.
Also,
I think it's
crossplay
stupid.
is becoming a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's just be happy we're playing on whatever you've got. And yeah, consoles are getting also very expensive.
Yeah.
So the upgrade, like the once off cost of the gaming PC is pretty massive. I'm not gonna lie. But then being able to upgrade it is quite an awesome thing. Although I'm not gonna touch this thing for a very long time.
No,
It's
I
good
think
as
if
it
you
is.
get
Yeah.
if you get modern specs for it, you're good for a few years, right? You don't
Hmm.
have to replace it.
Yeah.
Apparently, Creamage is not very happy that I'm a console gamer, but so are you. So I think that's a bit unfair. If you're gonna
Yeah.
unsubscribe to me, you have to also unsubscribe
No,
to
he's
that
unsubbed.
darn kitty.
I think he's unsubbed for me as well, and I probably won't be able to use his music anymore. So now what am I going to do? Come on,
Giant
I've got a
Giant
place,
X
a computer.
Giant XJ saying always been an Xbox player. Now I'm a Red Magic fan. What's this Red Magic?
I don't know what is
Okay.
red magic. But did you also see Groovy has noted this thing called "Don't Stop Killing Games"? Did you see any of that? I mean, you're more
No.
interested in real news, so
No.
the is Stop Killing Games is actually, well, I mean, speaking of weird laws, I suppose. The basically there was this what do you call it, a petition for signing that the EU laws had to be revised or something like that, because there was software engineers, gaming companies that once they discontinue, they had this in law that once they discontinue their games, support for them, then you don't own that game anymore. You have to destroy it, essentially.
Oh, really?
If the if it's an online game and it's got servers and things, the servers, they can't continue taking care of them in perpetuity, so they eventually shut them down. But then, as I remember reading the law, the literal policy, not the law, but the policy for, I think it was Ubisoft, was once we have shut down support for this game, you must delete all copies, destroy all copies of the game. So it's actually kind of like, so you own this until we tell you you can no longer own it. And this is in the terms and conditions. So you're accepting this every time. So they're trying to get that reviewed because it just doesn't make sense. Because then we just never own anything.
I can kind of understand it though from the business point of view.
Yes.
You
can't keep things going.
You can't keep things going. So maybe the solution isn't online. Maybe the solution is to go back to the CDs and the cartridges and all that stuff. Because you didn't have that issue with that, right?
That was an argument, though, that they were like, well, now you're going to make all developers have to make an offline version of their game, and that's gonna eat into budget. That's going to add to all of the work that they have to do, so that every game that they create has an offline version that will then at least be owned by people once server support is gone, is off.
I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can have both. I think you must choose. Because that also doesn't make sense. Because if you have, what's going to piss people off is a CD or a cartridge only has so much space in memory. So servers are there because of that extra space, and to be able to do things like online gaming and stuff like that. So you can't have both. You would have to choose. And I say choose the CD then. But then again, I grew up with that. I grew up with the CDs and the cartridges and the, and trying to shake it and make it work and all that stuff. So I don't mind that. But I guess. I don't know. How do you feel?
There has to be some sort of solution, though. Like I like one of the things of making it open source. It's kind of like a book going into the open. What's it? The common domain, I think it is.
Yes.
Like Dracula is. Yes, people can republish it and that sort of thing. I don't think I've got the right word there, but basically that's what could happen is that it becomes open source, and then it just. That fine, it's not up to them. They are not liable for anything that happens afterwards. There's a game called City of Heroes. I remember. I don't think there is official support for those servers. It's just fan run. People run them themselves. So that's another way that can happen. Is if fine, we're handing this over to the fans. It's up to you guys. We are no longer responsible for it. And they shouldn't really. I guess the reason that they're upset about that. I suppose they wouldn't want to let it continue. What if that has a resurgence? That game has a resurgence, and then we don't get the profit from it anymore. We left it behind, and now it's suddenly a cult classic, and everybody's playing it, and now it's no longer ours. So it's something to get through.
I think I have a solution for all this. Hear me out. It's going to require to talk to Elon Musk. Okay, but just hear me out. Okay. Have a chat with him. Okay. The moon, it's smaller than our planet, but it's still got a lot of space. Yeah. So we speak to Elon. We say, listen, we need to take some servers, a lot of fucking servers, and we need to go to the moon, and we need to establish like the whole moon must be one gigantic server. Okay. Okay. Maybe not all of it, but a large amount of it. And that should be enough space for a few years so we can have our servers. I think that's the way.
And it's closer than Mars. Come on, it's a more doable project.
Yeah,
actually,
absolutely.
Yeah. Compared to what he's trying to do.
The only challenge would be that it needs to all be wireless.
Yeah.
So I think we have the technology. Not sure how servers run. but call him up like I have.
Yeah, you got him on speed dial. We're still waiting for him to see the documentary, but he's been a bit busy lately.
Yeah. I think you'll see it at some point, but we'll see. But I don't know. I think there needs to be some kind of solution. You're right, to that issue, because it is concerning.
But
like,
not
technically,
yeah.
again, it's that whole property right thing, right? So you buy a game,
Yes.
and whether it's digital or hard copy, it's yours. It's on your console. So because the server is closed, now you have to delete it. That also doesn't make sense. But then again, I guess a lot of the games now rely on servers. Like GTA relies on servers, Call of Duty relies on servers. So yeah, that is a problem. But then here's another counter argument to that, is that as people grow and as gaming grows and develops, people always want the new one. People always want, like, I want the new Call of Duty 6, or I want the new GTA 7 or GTA 8 or whatever. And then they stop playing the older one. And you're right, there could be a resurgence. There could be. But the chances are not very high. So now I'm being devil's advocate, and I'm thinking, well, then, yeah, destroy the servers. But maybe instead of buying, you're renting.
Yeah, which it seems like that's kind of the argument they're trying to say, is like, we're no longer, that's not our model anymore. Our model isn't about actual ownership anymore, because we don't have physical. Like Groovy says, they're arguing that you're buying a license. So it's like, okay, so it's software as a service, games as a service, everything is as a service. You just have to pay a subscription, and there you go. Nothing is ever yours. You will own nothing and be happy.
Yeah.
But then you don't get cool covers and things.
Yeah, I know, that was the appeal.
You don't get like nice little things. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like the cassette player had its heyday, and it was CDs, and then the CDs became DVDs became Blu-ray became obsolete, basically, and it's online now, digital, and this, I think, is just a natural evolution of how things are going to go. And I mean, like, we kind of rent everything now. Yeah,
we do.
But I mean, you rent Netflix, right? I mean, you have a subscription. Everything's a subscription now. Netflix and Showmax, and I don't know what other subscription-based services there are in UAE. But yeah, I think that's the direction we're going in. Who knows? Maybe our cell phones at some point will also be rented.
Oh no. No. Well, I suppose that is kind of where it's at, where you have your cell phone contract and you pay it off your phone. By the time your phone is paid off, it's no longer really useful, because it's been planned obsolescence, so your thing's going to die anyway. So yeah, essentially you are renting your phone in terms of just paying it off all the time. Yeah, sure, you can, I suppose, own it, but it's obsolete. It's not working. So good times.
The only benefit to owning it is that you get to sell it, but then you might not get as much money as you want. You get to sell it, and that money then becomes yours. So in that way, it's a positive. But you're right. I mean, by the time my contract finishes with this phone, I'm going to need a new one, because it's a 5-year contract. And the contracts are getting longer because the phones are getting more expensive. And by the time you're done with that contract, you're like, yeah, I'll look at the iPhone 20. I'll see how it looks. And then
they chase you. They chased me in the cell phone companies, because I kept my South African number. They will chase you if you do not renew
upgrade
your contract. You get your I'm like, I don't want it, thank you, bye. Like a lot of people, they will chase you down. You need a new phone. You
do. And here's a question for you. So I dare say will prove whether you're South African or not. Weird coming from me, but do you still or don't pay your TV license?
Oh no, I never. I don't think I ever did. I don't think I ever paid once. I think maybe when I bought a TV once, that you when you buy a TV, there's something you have to have, like they check your TV license or something. So I might have paid it off once to get a TV, and that's
Yeah.
it. Once. But remember, they were trying to make it that you got to pay pay TV license for Netflix.
Dude, what they're doing now is they want to do a what they call a what's they calling it again? Not a house levy, just a levy, like so a tax that will apply to. So, and the problem with that is whether you own a TV or whether forget about owning a TV, whether you watch SABC or not, you're gonna have to pay
Yep.
now in the tax. So that's what they're looking at now to save SABC and to basically solve the solution with the TV license because nobody's paying. Case in point. Don't worry, that makes you a South African.
No, yeah, TV license. Oh, but now we make it a tax. We make it SARS is coming after you, so then you will have to pay.
Exactly.
Okay. I've got to work on that financial immigration, because you can actually look. You don't have to pay taxes on income outside of earned outside of South Africa to a certain margin that I've never ever gotten near to. But yeah, you can financially immigrate where you are no longer a tax resident. And I still haven't done that. But yeah, that is a thing you can do. You can be a South African citizen, but not pay taxes because you live out, your residence is outside of South Africa.
You better do that ASAP because the ANC is going to be working on that very soon. To
make sure
that
bring
you,
it.
yeah. Wait, so property, what's this groovy saying? TV license. Wow. What is in the test? So that's actually another joke that I had because so my stand-up comedy was about me as an American embracing the South African culture, and one of the jokes I used to say was about the TV license. And funny enough, I said the exact same thing. How would that test even go? Because it doesn't make sense. Like car license makes sense, pilot license makes sense, even fishing license makes sense, but TV license, like
You got
how
a
hard?
license for that TV, boy? Actually, it's not the name. It's not the right name. I think actually TV tax makes more sense, actually. But
Yeah.
yes, TV license, like, you know what would be in that test is media literacy. Okay? So you got to figure out how you consume information, are you skeptical enough of things? I don't think SABC would be interested in that, though. SABC wants you to just consume the
Yeah.
information and take it at face value. So yeah, even then,
Yep.
so TV license is, guys, non-South Africans. Yeah, you're paying for it's like, what do they call them? PBS. But that's
Yeah.
free in America, isn't it?
Yeah, the TV license in South Africa goes towards the South African Broadcasting, South African Broadcaster, whatever it's called, which is a government entity, so that you can enjoy the government channels like SABC 1, 2, and 3, ETV, and I think there's another one.
Zanzi for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. They still do
Only
that.
on E. Yeah, they still do that.
Yeah, that was very well. I wish I could do that. You guys don't know what you're missing overseas.
CS Paffy says, I'm so confused, guys. One, but phones on credit. The fuck? And two, have to pay some sort of TV license. Who's out here buying phones on credit? Just get a phone you can afford. It's a fair point. Where do you stay, CS Paffy? It might be easier in your country, but in South Africa, it's not so easy. It's the majority of people in South Africa have phones on credit, cars on credit, house on credit.
Everything on credit.
Everything's on credit.
Everything. Furniture on credit. Everything, because we need to have. I think there's a culture of like you need to have the thing, and you know what?
Yeah.
Fine, we'll deal with the debt. We live just go paycheck to paycheck, pay, just be in debt
Even
perpetually.
you can even put food on credit, clothes on credit, because there's Woolies cards
Yeah,
now, and there's
yeah.
even Checkers the other day was trying to
Me.
sell me. We have a Checkers card, sir, and it gives you so much credit that you can use to buy food and clothes and other things. And I'm like, no, man, I don't want to be in debt, thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
So there's credit for that. There's credit for I mean, put it this way: if they could credit air, they would. Even
Yeah,
electricity is on credit. So
yeah.
yeah, there you go.
Is it just
Someone.
we don't have fuel on credit, do we? Probably do. They are
Well,
fuel cards.
they have. Well, I don't know if this counts. So some banks have a bank card for fuel, but the difference
Yeah,
is
yeah.
you have to put money in. It's not that you can.
It's a debit
You
card.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. So if the money runs out in that card, then you have to refill the card. So it's not really a credit. And then, okay, so they stay in New England. I have no credit score. I have had 2 cars with 0 credit. Well,
He's a youngin' now, yes, Pappy. Stay that way. Stay out of it.
stay out of it. Stay out of it. I think, oh yeah, Gavin making a very good point. Bicycle license is also coming to South Africa. I did a video on that. Yeah. So you know how you have to.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you know how you have to license a car?
Uh-huh. Okay.
Bicycles.
My
So
father has
you
not
have to have
spoken about this, and he's a cyclist.
Oh, your dad's gonna be pissed.
How much is it? And you have to pay like yearly and whatever.
Yeah.
Oh God, the
Yeah.
man's gonna go to jail. He's gonna be he is really gonna be pissed off. You know, like just the kind of.
I'll try and find the video I
won't
did
pay.
on it.
I won't pay. He'll do that. I won't pay. No, you have to pay. That's just the way the world works. So.
I don't even know if they will even uphold the law, to be honest. I think it's just a money-making scheme as usual from the ANC. So, yeah.
Not them.
Creamage saying never get a credit card, but it seems like SA runs off credit cards. You know, the banks are actually very strict when it comes to credit cards. What the problem is, this is, you remember Edgars, right, Kitty?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Edgars is in a lot of trouble because what they did was they had the same system of credit for you can come on credit and buy clothes and have this membership thing. But what they found was that a lot of people didn't pay back the money. They didn't. They would be credited for 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, or 10,000. Obviously, the rich paid it back, but the less fortunate didn't. You know, so Edgars is basically in financial ruin because they credited all these people easily, and now they're struggling to get the money back. In the same way, SABC is with the TV license. So yeah, that's what's currently happening now with Edgars. It's still around, but they're on very thin ice.
No, but it's reckless borrowing.
Yes.
Essentially, because it's just like, oh, cool, they'll pay it back. Can't.
Giant XJ giving another sassy chat saying, I'm 38, never had any credit, never will. I own a house, 2 cars, and have very expensive hobbies. Credit is a scam. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. And congratulations on all that.
That's a big.
Yeah. You must be a surgeon, or you must earn a lot of money. There must be a really good job. So, yeah. We've been talking for an hour and a half. I didn't even know.
Listen, yeah, you can talk to me forever, but I know. There's yeah.
So, Kitty, before we end off, is there anything you want to say? Get anything off your chest? Yeah.
Again, reiterating that I just want to see more of the investigations into South Africa from you. I also caught a bit of your update on that court case with the murder trial,
Oh,
that
yes.
sort of thing. I love true crime, so I'm interested in that as well. Yeah, I'm also scatterbrained right now, so I don't even know. Point is, I've just had so much fun talking to you. And thank you everybody for dealing with me not knowing who I am and whatever. It's just really great to talk to Joe. So I don't. It was also nice to speak about gaming for a bit. I think we
Yeah.
escaped a little bit. Maybe
Yeah,
we needed a bit of that. Joe's been busy this week. Have you seen his Twitter? Yes. See. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. It's like, okay. There's so much going on, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, there's a
Why do
lot going
women love
on.
true crime? Yeah,
Because they're
does your wife like
planning.
true crime?
They're planning,
No, we're not.
Matthew. They're planning. They
No,
don't want
we're
to be
not.
honest about it. They're lying. She's lying. But every now and again, when the men are out of line, they have a plan, and they're just waiting to
No.
implement it. They're just waiting for that opportune moment to be like, okay, tonight's the night.
No, you know what? We're watching out for you guys when you're going to use the opportune moment. So there's that. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're getting ready.
Okay, before we end off, sorry, one more question.
Yeah.
Because I asked you earlier, are you a Dexter fan? You said yes. Are you excited for
Yes.
Dexter Resurrection?
No, I'm not. I've
Oh.
watched that. It was, what is it even called? It was like the with his son
the
and all of that.
the what's it called? Prelogue or whatever.
Yeah.
What was it? Dexter, not New Sin? No.
New blood. Fresh,
New-
new something blood.
No, there was Dexter New Blood, right? And then that was in the Alaska whatever. And then there was
yeah.
the Dexter where they're taking him back in time and they're showing how he became Dexter. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, it was basically the young. I saw a bit of it. It was basically like the young Sheldon version. of Dexter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And you
man.
didn't enjoy that one.
It's just okay. It's not that I hated it. It's just that it made me just miss the original. That's it.
Original Sin.
Original Sin. Yes, yeah. So I mean, watching the original, we rewatched it. It's just so great with Dokes and all of that. Just you can't recapture that.
No.
But yeah, I guess it's okay. It's not egregious. So I'm not that excited, but I'll probably end up watching it.
Yeah,
There's egregious things. We got to talk about media. There are egregious calamities that have occurred, that are worth talking about. But we'll have to do another stream about that. I'll have to have you on.
Yes. So I haven't finished watching Original Sin. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of criticism towards it is like, oh, it's not Dexter, guys. It's not. Yeah, because he's still learning how to do the stuff, people. You gotta remember that.
Because he's not Dexter.
He's not going to be a kung fu ninja right away. We're watching the Padawan become the master, right?
It's the origin story.
Yeah. So he's not going to be that nice, witty, kung fu guy. And I think it's interesting. I think there's some interesting things in that series. I haven't finished watching it. I need to. So I haven't. I like to watch it, and then once it's done, because the ending is the ending. That is what's going to make, for me. That is what's going to, that's how I'm going to decide whether I like it or not. Because the first Dexter,
you watch until the end.
Yeah. Because the first Dexter had an awesome ending, based off the books, which I've also read. So yeah, Original Sin. I'll reserve judgment on that for now. Resurrection. Okay, so I agree with you on some level, because New Blood was extremely excited for it. I was like, yes, they're going to kill off the lumberjack story. Thank God. Okay. And then I feel like they kind of screwed it up again, to some extent. I did watch it again. And I felt like there was parts of that series that felt very rushed. because they were trying to move the story along, which that's my biggest criticism of them. But other than that, the killing off of Dexter I thought was, yeah, okay. I would have. I don't know if you ever heard the original ending that the writers had.
No.
Did you ever hear about it?
No.
So
No,
apparently Clyde.
'cause, you know, I have some comments on the ending. Yeah.
Yeah. So Clyde, I think Clyde Phillips, I think his name is, the original writer of the series. His original idea for Dexter to meet his demise, and he had already decided this from season 1. But I think other, as things happen and execs get involved, they changed it. But his original idea was Dexter was going to wake up, and he was going to be on the not the electric chair, where they put the drip or the injection, and so he's in that room, and he he turns his head. And as they're pushing the poison or whatever, the lethal injection in, he can see, you know how like in those kind of scenarios, like there's a double glass window and people can watch, So he would be able to see who is behind that. And it would be all the victims, even Rita, everyone that he feels guilty, not guilty, but like everyone that basically he was responsible, the death that he was responsible for. So it would be all his victims, Rita, from all the seasons. Trinity Killer would have been there. And I thought that would have been awesome. And then he slowly dies, looking at his victims. And I thought that was brilliant. I was like, okay, so basically, what he was trying to show there was the whole series was him reliving his life from a certain point. And it ends with him with the lethal injection. So that's the kind of ending you would have felt, that you just went through this man's life, and he ended up, being.
He didn't get away with it.
Yeah.
Would you feel with that ending then that he's going to pay for it? They're there waiting for him. I don't know how it would take seeing them. Rita obviously is a different story. It depends on how she would look. What is her face saying? But the other victims, like whether they're going to hurt him, he's going to hell. What is this? What is the meaning of that?
Well, I think what we forget, and this is what makes Dexter so interesting, and why I love the series so much, is you're rooting for a bad guy. Yes, he's killing bad guys, but he's still a murderer. He's still a serial killer. And in the eyes of the law, it doesn't matter whether you're a vigilante serial killer or a normal serial killer. You kill people, you need to go to jail, you need to pay the price for that. And I think we as viewers sometimes forget that because he's a good serial killer. So I think that's why that ending is so brilliant, because what you just asked me would have been the conversation that fans would have had for years. Was it right? Wasn't it right? Yeah, but he was killing good people. Yeah, but the law, this, that, and you're not allowed to take a life and blah, blah. So that's why that ending, for me, when I heard him say that, I was like, that would have been a brilliant fucking ending. And then you don't fucking touch the series. You fucking leave it alone.
You leave it alone, exactly. Leave it alone.
There's no way you can bring him back. He can't punch through the wall to the. So yeah, I'm interested to see Resurrection. I'm not. I gotta admit, the previews and the little bit of synopsises that I've seen, I don't know what to think.
How does that work? Because so you haven't seen the whole ending of the lumberjack thing. How that's happened? You have seen that series. I'm losing track of how many bloody series there are now.
Yeah, so you keep Original Sin out, because that's the before. That's how
prequel
origin story. Yeah. But it goes Dexter season 1 through 8. Season 9 is New Blood. So that's where they tried to write off the lumberjack, because at the end of season 8 you see him. Though. Yes. So at the end of season 8, you see him sitting in that cabin with the beard and blah, blah, and then it's how it ends. Stupid ending. and that
Yes.
his slice of life was destroyed, the boat and blah blah blah, and everyone thinks he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And what's her name? The girlfriend he had at that time with his son Harrison were in Argentina and all
Yes.
that stuff. That's how season 8 ends. That's the official ending for Dexter, the original series. And then they made New
Yes.
Blood. He's now in Alaska. He's got a new name, new persona, hasn't killed in years. And then all of a sudden, which is also a flaw in the plot, all of a sudden he like wants to kill. And then just when he happens to be killing again, his son comes back to find him. And they wrote off his girlfriend by saying she had cancer and she died, which I have a feeling
She
in
died.
this resurrection is going to be a lie. I have a feeling. 'Cause
Okay. Oh, retcon. Let's go. Let's retcon because we
not
it's
even just
fine.
retcon. How it would be kind of cool. It would if they do it right. It
have
would
her
be
alive?
kind of cool if she actually was alive and she told Harrison to say that she was
lie.
dead. And he was actually in contact with her the whole time during Alaska. We just didn't know, right? And he, like, how cool would it have been if, like, he said to her, like, oh, I just killed Dad. I don't know what to do. And she said, like, come to me, son. It's fine, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out that she was kind of manipulating the whole situation by talking to him and saying, hey, you see, your dad doesn't really care about you, blah, blah, which would, in my opinion, kind of fill in the blanks with New Blood, because there was a lot of emotional back and forth with Harrison in New Blood, and not a lot of it was explained. He was aggro the one time, happy the other time, but no real justification. So I think, again, I don't know if they did this, but if they did do that, I think that would be very interesting. And yes, you're retconning, but at the same time, you're retconning it in a cool way, because then Dexter finds out.
You get more.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh shit, is he going to kill now the love of his life? Is he not? Blah, blah. What is he going to do with his son? And then at the same time, now you're in New York. Batista is now on his trail. And apparently there's some kind of serial killer convention that I don't know. I saw from the previews. There's like, yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on. That's why I'm a little bit meh. I don't know how I feel about New York. I don't know how I feel about Batista, and I don't know, like, Batista's supposed to be an interesting one, but from what I gather with the trailer, they somehow, either Dexter talks his way out of it, which I would love to see how they do this, or Batista knows who Dexter is and is supportive of it.
I don't know if Batista would be. Would he?
I don't know.
That character, I don't see him. But I mean, speaking of the New Blood ending, because there was it seemed like he was dead. You know, like Harrison killing him was actually, for me, that was an idea that, you know what, I can get on board with that, because what you're realizing is no, Dexter, you're actually still a sick person. You actually there's something wrong with you that you need to kill. You've been trying to justify it to yourself the whole way through, and we've been along with you for that journey. But actually, what Harrison does to him is gives him this perspective that no, you're just a killer. You're not. This is not good.
No, but I have a problem. I have a problem
Yeah.
with that, because
You don't.
the problem with that storyline at the end is he kills the cop, that black cop,
Yeah.
right? And that is out of the nature of Dexter to do. He's
against the
very
code,
calculated, it's against the code. And then when he tells his son that he did that, his son says, well, what about the code? You know? And then it's a whole like, well, okay, son, you got to do what you got to
Don't
do,
get
blah,
caught.
blah. Yeah. Don't get caught, number one rule, but you broke that rule. You want to tell me that for nearly 9 freaking seasons, Dexter was able to not break that one rule. Came close to being caught many times, but he never broke the rule. And now, for some reason, he just did. And you could argue like, yeah, but it was to see his son and to be with his son, and as a parent, I can understand that. You know, you do anything for your kids, but it still felt out of the ordinary, because Dexter pretended to die to protect his kids and to get away from the kids, or not get away in the sense of like he didn't want to be with them, but like to protect them and all that stuff.
Yes.
And it just that little ending always felt a bit off for me. I didn't buy
Out
it.
of
I was
character?
like, yeah,
Yeah.
it was very out of character. I didn't buy it at all. I was like, nah, this is not what Dexter would have done. Dexter, and I think what happened is the writers wrote themselves into a corner because now Dexter's in
Hmm.
jail, the girlfriend's on his case, Batista's on his way. I think they just ran out of ideas of how for him to get out of it. That they came up with this solution that like, okay, well, Dexter's going to go AWOL and he's going to kill the black cop, and then they're going to go, and because the relationship between the black cop and Harrison, which is also, this is also what I had a problem with it, because now Dexter says, oh, he killed that guy, and it's like, oh, well, you broke the code. But also, why does Harrison have such an emotional connection with the black cop? He met him like a few weeks ago,
Hmm.
and now Harrison pretends like this guy was like his second father. You
I
could
didn't
have
get that, but
you could have had it where Dexter explains to his son, like, listen, the rule is we don't get caught, so we need to go now. We need to get out of here because we're gonna get caught. I'm about to get caught, and we can't let that happen. And the supposed love that Harrison has for Dexter should have prevailed on that one, because after all, Harrison did travel halfway across the world to find his dad. He went to Alaska. So I don't know. I felt like a lot of the motivations there was gaps in those motivations. I don't know. Do you agree with me?
can they? Well, I need to rewatch it to see, because the way that I got it was that he actually has Harrison has morals from his mom, or his stepmom, or whatever. He has morals instilled within in him, so he is different to his father. He thinks he could be like his father, but he can't, and that kind of that happens at the end. That realization happens for both of them. That, you know what, Dad, you're actually kind of sick, and I don't want to be like you. That's just my memory of it. I might be wrong, so I would need to rewatch. But my question for you is, how on earth? I guess that's why you want to watch Resurrection. Is how on earth do they fix that in this season, in this
His
new
death.
story? Yeah.
Well, so
Well, how do they fix all that character? Will there be explanation for that, or do they
they
just
kind of
ignore it or ignore?
they, well, they kind of explain the shot, like when he gets shot. They kind of explain it in
Yeah.
Original Sin, the first episode, and I suspect they'll explain it more in Resurrection. But I mean, they've already hinted at it. Michael C. Hall doing interviews. The one interviewer asked him that exact question, like how Dexter's dead. Even the writer said he's dead, and then Michael C. Hall was like, "Well, it's very cold in Alaska," and the scientific
Yes.
theory is that your heart
Yeah.
slows down in the cold, your blood flow slows down in the
Mhm.
cold. So he was able to just remain alive with a pulse long enough for them to resuscitate him. So there you go. That's the explanation. But
Yes, I understand that, but I'm talking about the character stuff. How do they fix the character stuff that you had a problem with?
well, that's the thing. I don't know. That's what I'm going to watch Resurrection for. I
But
think,
you want to watch?
um, yeah.
Yeah.
I also think that you speak about Harrison having morals. I didn't get that. What I saw was a boy who's very confused.
Need a rewatch.
Because remember, he wanted
Mm,
to cut that one kid, and Dexter stopped him.
yeah.
He broke that one kid's arm in wrestling,
Hmm.
and he also slit that one kid's leg, and tried to make it look like it was the kid that attacked him. So
Hmm.
I don't. That's not a guy who has morals. That's a guy who's very confused, and that's why again
Yeah.
that ending doesn't make sense to me. Because now all of a sudden,
Yeah.
he has morals.
Ah,
Now all of a
okay.
sudden,
Yeah. I
yeah,
want to. Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I was interacting with the story,
yeah.
was that he's got these tendencies that he could be like his dad, and then by the end, I suppose the problem there is why. So I would have to
Mm.
go and look and see if there's any good enough reason. But by the end, he realizes, I can't be like my dad, and there is that I find that nice, that quite juicy as a theme or whatever about, oh, you want to live up to your dad, but at the same time, like, you can also be disappointed in your father. Like, all of that is juicy interpersonal stuff. I need to rewatch it now.
Yeah. I will say this. I when I rewatched New Blood, I didn't like. Okay, so the first time I watched it, I think I had a lot of expectation. So I was a little bit disappointed with the ending or the entire series. When I watched it again, maybe it's because I knew it wasn't how, like, I kind of like, I knew it's nothing to be hyped about. And I paid a little bit more attention. I was like, okay, it's not too bad. It's not the worst. It's better than season 8 in my opinion. I think the villain in that series is also very good. That story arc and that storyline was very good. In terms of Dexter, though, no. I was still a little bit disappointed, but not as disappointed with season 8. So yeah, that's. But yeah, go watch it again. I'm probably going to watch it again as well before I watch Resurrection. So, okay, I really have to go. So
sorry about that, but I've really enjoyed it.
No, I've enjoyed it too. Don't get me wrong. But before I go, I do have to. It's a rule that I have to do this. Okay, no, I've looked at that already. I've looked at that. Okay, so Giant XJ once again with a Sasa chat saying, I watched a docu on these two Russian and Polish dude. I forget, but they built a Helis Moose multi-level underground bunker to enslave people to make fur coats. If they didn't, they got them cooked up. I wonder how much Giant XJ has been drinking. But no. I haven't seen that. And that's like some Silent Hill kind of stuff. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for staying with us for a full 2 hours. It's great. Really, Kitty, I really enjoy talking to you. Like, really, I do. It's always fun.
It's so much fun.
So, yeah. I wish you the best of luck with your channel. I'm sure we will. We'll chat again. That's the point I'm getting at. So keep doing what you're doing, and thank you for what you're doing. Thanks again for the attention that you gave the documentary, and thank you so much for giving me your time today.
Thanks so much, Joe, and I'll see you online as usual.
Yeah,
and thanks everybody for dealing with me as well. So I really appreciate it.
No, I can see you're quite loved in the comment section. So I think you have some new fans. I hope that people will go to your YouTube channel and give you a nice subscribe. Like I said, don't expect short form, very long form, but fun and entertaining all the same. And you'll see a lot of cats. That's too.
You've seen
them. 35 Rand Sessa chat saying, I don't drink, just saying great stream laters. Oh, okay, great. Thank you, Giant J, for all the Sasa chats and everybody else that gave us the Sasa chats and super chat. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for listening. Thanks for all the comments. There you go. 1 of 44 saying, remember to like and subscribe to Kitty right here. There's the link to her YouTube channel. Thank you so much.
The stream,
1 of 44 for that. And if you found it helpful, share it far and wide. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much. Kitty, I will chat to you again soon. So thanks.
See ya.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Kitteh. If you don't know who she is, please go check out her channel online. Great conversation. Glad that I was able to find her YouTube channel, and hopefully you guys are fans. If you're on Facebook, go to her YouTube channel. If you're watching this on X, follow her on X at that darn Kitty, Kitty Kitteh. And same handle on YouTube. Hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. Thank you guys so much for being part of it. I see a lot of people in the comment section saying, thanks guys, you guys are more than welcome. I'm still in Joburg, going to be here for a while. I'm going to be a guest on Mark Rock's show, so please check that out tonight. I'm going to try and prepare some never before seen footage from the documentary. So please tune into that on his show, the Mork Rock Show. Other than that, leave a comment. What did you think about this conversation? And for those of you that say you missed the Star Wars background, so do I. So thank you so much for those comments. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you at the next one. All right. Cheers.